Over here at the Forest Park, I guess park, on Colonial Parkway, as you can tell. As you can tell, there's like really nothing to offer, actually. Unless there's some trails around here. This is, of course, over, I guess, what they call the TCU area. Ooh, some birds. Hopefully nobody thinks of the movie Birds with Alfred Hitchcock. Looks like doves, in my opinion, if you can see them. But as you can tell, there's like, I'm like, what does this park even have to offer if it's just a bunch of shrubs? I don't see any trails, just an empty lot with bushes around it. Unless if there's a trail somewhere around here and it's just overgrown because nobody's using it. But I'm walking the perimeter just to see if there is actually a trail around here and just see what it's all about. I just had lunch at Tommy's Burgers in the Forest Park Avenue area. It was the green chili goat cheese burger. But as you can tell, it's just all it is empty lot with bushes like that. And let's see what we got here. I have to burn off some of those calories just from that burger. I was over here in this area a few months ago, so as you can tell, I know my Fort Worth if I know where all the parks are. I think part of the reason why they might be calling this water a park, because I'll show you here in a minute why I think why they call it a park. Even that part's kind of boring. I don't know how to get to this part. Actually, see, I think there's a street up over there that you go around and go to from. But as you can tell, a little water park in this area for the kids, I guess. And a little, let me try to get a little bit better view. Like I said, there's a little, some type of blown up elephant over there for the kiddies, I guess. I guess it's a nice little water park for the kids and the family to hang out during the summer when it's hot here, but I guess there's nobody here because it's Friday, about 1 o'clock, and kids are in school, so they figured, hey, why have it going? But like I said, this is about a block or two from that Tommy's Burgers in the Forest Park area. There's two. As far as I know, there's two Tommy's Burgers. The one's on Forest Avenue and the other's on Camp Bowie. Not to get confused with one or the other. But I figured all these steps would help take down some of the calories I just ate from that burger and onion rings. If I remember right, there should be a little spot up here with a playground. I heard a train, which I wonder if it's partly that train over there near the zoo, because I'm kind of fairly close to it. Last time I was here, it was about 10:30, right around 10:30 on, I think it was April 26th, 2025. And there was a lot more kids and humans around. The reason why I say that, this playground is empty. There's a lot of kids around here. Like I said, this is over. I want to say just north of that Tommy's Burgers. Free marketing. As you can tell, there's a nice little playground for the kiddies over here. But like I said, I walked from the Colonial one entrance. Looks like a nice little old house over there. I think my mom went to that church before she passed away for about a few years. I think it was the first Presbyterian church, or whatever it was called, over there near TCU. If anybody complains I'm walking on the grass, I say, well, why have grass if you can't walk on it? But as you can tell, there's a little thing over here, I think. I think there's a little bit of trails here, but this probably be a good little, at least a good place to take your kids to burn off some energy. But as you can tell, there's a wall right here. With a view of construction. Seems like everywhere in this town is construction. Wonder if somebody ventures down there to hide out and camp out over there while they're at night sleeping like a homeless. I know somebody I know from the church I was going to might see this, and he might want to take his dog here to Colonial Park just to check it out. As you can tell, there's kind of some steps down here going this way. That means if you're going down, you have to climb up, and good exercise. You might want to take his dog here. Moose. But at least you got looks like possibly a good trail for the grown-ups to walk on. And it looks like a forest. As you can tell, this is not the first park I've been on. But I figure, see, there's looks like maybe some possible trails that direction. possibly over here too. And you basically clear this. Oh. Looks like it's just overgrown and needs to be trimmed and have trails come around here. Because that just looks like just too many of these bushes. You have to go back under this bush for basically nothing. Oh. Ah. But I will just have to show off a little bit of what it's probably like, just to give people an idea if it's worth coming. But I think it's probably need people to come out here and trim up a little bit to make some trails for people to walk and enjoy themselves peacefully. So if anybody wants to trim, make some pathways, go right ahead. Nobody would notice. But it looks like at least a trail over here. Maybe some switchbacks. It almost looks like they're from that wall area that where I was at. But at least it looks like it's just a small little park. My guess is over here where all the construction vehicles are. I'm not going to venture out that way. Just in case somebody start like wondering what I'm doing over here. Hey, it looks like a baseball. I wouldn't be surprised if a homeless person did that just to put a little tarp over it from getting rained on. That's why I say the homeless probably hide out in parks just to hide out from the cops and give them a place to crash for the night. But of course, what goes down must come up. Nice little form of exercise. But at least it's a good way to. This was a good way to burn some calories. People were wondering how. Telling me that burger was just had too many calories. I'm like, I don't really care about. Well, I'm not really worried about those calories on a burger and onion rings. I got so much exercise from doing landscaping. I don't have to worry about weight. Plus, I like to go hiking on parks. As you can tell by some of my videos. But if you're over here, you got kids and you want to burn off some energy, I guess this is a good park to do it, because I just showed that there's a playground for the kids to burn off some energy. I guess during summer months you got that little water park I just showed y'all. If you can't come from like Berry Street, I think you have to come. I came from like Berry Street to Forest Park, where that I think it's like some type of high school there, and a Pizza Hut to that Tommy's, and from Tommy's here. But like I said, this is probably a good little park to maybe sit on that bench and read on a nice day, and just have a clear your mind if you want to clear your mind. But here's the playground for the kiddies. This is a nice little area for those that want to venture out and do something different. Even if you're grown up that don't have kids, you can still, like I say, you probably sit down at one of the benches to sit down and just, there looks like some benches over there, just to think if there's no kids around here. Murray, it looks like maybe some little trail down there. I'm not going down there. But I figured at least if I show y'all, at least make a video where there's showing a little bit of part of Fort Worth. That way I can prove that I like to venture to different parts of the town. I think that's a church that involves science of some sort nearby. And I showed y'all that they're advertising Albertsons, and I'm not a big fan of Albertsons. They're just a little bit of an overpriced store. But this apparently is not Colonial Park, as you can tell. It says a different park name under it. But like I said, here's that church I was talking about. Never been in here, but I think it's a Christian church. Let me see. As you can tell, let's see. At least get a good clear on the name of the street. I've been in that direction. It's nice. I think there's a little park over there, but here's the church name. But I think there's a nice little park over here around the corner. Like I said, you have to venture a little bit more to get more views. It almost seems like a Seattle weather here in Fort Worth, with it being overcast and cool and rainy. So this is a good day to go for a park. But as you can tell, you have this. I think there's some trails, might be some trails over here too, if somebody wants to venture over here. But like I said, I started over at the Colonial, so what is it, Forest Park on Colonial Avenue or whatever it was called, a parkway. But as you can tell, there's pretty much the same old. But this would be a good place to, if you want to play, I guess, a little soccer, because it's a nice open field, or throw a football around, or do something with the that contains outdoors without breaking anything, unless it's bones. But there's some old looking houses in the distance, if you could see them. But if I remember, there was like a trail over here. I think I hear that that miniature train that they have over at the Trinity Park on University, because I'm fairly close to there. I guess I guess you have to, if you want to come here, it's best to probably wear some pants. But at least if that person from the church I was going to once sees this, he can decide to come here and take his dog Moose with him and maybe give him a good little run around. But at least this looks like possibly a trail right here. I can go down a little bit of the ways. It's kind of a little wet, so I'm not going any further. I don't want to slip too much down that direction. But as you can tell, there's a trail down there. We just had some rain last night, so it's a little wet, so I don't want to go any further. I don't want to have to slide and no. I don't know if you hear that ding 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 like a train. Like I said, this would even be a good spot to take your dogs out to play a little fetch if they like to play fetch too. Nice, at least the upside about the trees. It gets some shade during the summer months, so you don't have to be out in the hot sun during the summers. But it looks like another little trail right here, too. Go down a little ways. I might not go all the way. Like I say, it's been wet. But as you can tell, there's another little trail going down that way. People are doing construction down there. I've been trying to, like I tell people, I tried running for mayor a few months ago. I know I won't win, but hey, at least I figured at least to get my name out there a little bit. Looks like another little, possibly switch back this way. A little around, maybe have to duck a little. If I wasn't filming this, and I might be going down one of these trails, but because I'm filming it, I don't want to lose my phone. Some more doves. Looks like I'm not going to disturb them. I want them to eat. There's some birds up in here. As you can tell, they're flying around. Looks like mockingbird's a state bird. Or doves, one or the others. But that looks like birds up in that tree. Looks like somebody put a birdhouse over here. It's like probably, I've been over in this area a few times. I'm just giving people at least an idea of how it's like in a day of life with me. But now, y'all, I hope I give people at least an idea for another park to go visit in Fort Worth that's free. There's some nice houses over here. Like I said, I'm just north of. Just like I said, this is north of Berry Street, off of one of these, kind of like I said, close to that Forest Tommy's Burgers on Forest Park Avenue area, and just a little ways north of there, about a block or two. So I figure if you go to that Tommy's, then what you could do is park at Tommy's, come here, eat. You could either eat at Tommy's before or after, and try to come here to get a little exercise to burn off any excess calories that you just ate from eating a burger and fries or onion rings. But like I said, I started at that Forest Park entrance and made my way over here. Like I said, I think that's the church that my mom went to. I think it was that First Presbyterian Church. Like the last few, she went there like for a few years before she started getting sick and passed away from cancer. But if you're over here, you'll notice that there's a lot of interesting, unique houses when you venture over this way. A lot of new homes, but yeah, it's a lot of like older, uniquer homes. I can see why a lot of the rich people live over here, because it's just more nicer. See, like I said, you can see some of those houses out in the distance. Hope y'all enjoyed this video. But like I said, when I say if I'm trying to run for some form of office in Fort Worth, and like I said, I know my way around Fort Worth just because I've lived here for 32 years now. So at least if I have video, at least I got video proof that I can say, well, look at all the parks, some of the parks I've been to in Fort Worth, and some of the places I've been to in Fort Worth. On my YouTube channel, you automatically know I know things about Fort Worth, because sometimes people want to say, don't always want to believe everything people say. So this at least gives some video evidence. Or at least when I say I've been around Fort Worth, I know stuff about Fort Worth. Probably some stuff about Fort Worth that some people don't even know about. They lived here longer than me. But this, at times I've always wondered how this church is like. Okay. Maybe someday. Like I said, this is the second Church of Christ Science. Here's what caught my eye. Let me, while I'm here, I can say, take a look out at the front. It almost looks like they grew, they look like red tip petunias or something. I think that's what that bush is called. And they mixed it in with some crepe myrtles. Those flowering, those crepe myrtles can, there's 3 different types of crepe myrtles. And the crepe myrtles are the ones that have the flowers on it, and with kind of those types of leaves on it. Those crepe myrtles come in 3 different types. A bush that gets to be about 6 to 8 feet tall. The standard crepe myrtles that go from 12 to 15 feet tall, and then you have the giant crepe myrtles that go like 18 to 21 feet tall. So most people have the crepe myrtle, the standard crepe myrtles that go about 12 to 15 feet tall. There's a crepe myrtle bush in front of my house. It only gets up about 6 to 8 feet tall. St. Augustine grass right here, mixed in with some, looks like some weeds. That's fire power nandinias. Some looks like jasmine. But this is what makes this church look interesting with those pillars. And some lantana out in front. As y'all can see, this area, just by me looking around, you can tell this is a nice area that I am in. Like I said, this is probably more the area that's more for the people that actually have a bunch of money. And see, there's the crepe myrtles, the standards down that way. If I remember right, these are butterfly bushes, and there's a bee in it. See, right there, there's a bee right there. I'm not afraid of bees. Everybody's afraid of bees. I've never been afraid of bees, yellow jackets, or any of those stinging insects. But hopefully, if somebody wants to take their dog out for a walk, or their kids out for to play, and you're in this area, at least you know a spot to go to.